All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're taking a look at a pretty fascinating microcosm of modern society, Mr. Hendrix's 8th grade science and social studies classroom. It perfectly captures that critical transition period in the student's life. It's this unique space where old school respect and strict boundaries collide with new school technology, AI, and digital citizenship. We're going to break down exactly how Mr. Hendrix sets up his expectations for the 2026 to 2027 school year. And as you'll see, it's not just a boring list of rules, it's really a comprehensive guide for surviving and thriving as a young adult. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be hitting 1. Foundations, 2. The physical classroom, 3. Tech and digital citizenship, 4. AI era integrity, 5. Taking charge, and finally, 6. Civil discourse. Okay. First up, foundations, respect, and preparation. So to make a humorous but very serious point, Mr. Hendrix actually equates classroom preparation to, well, a freezing military march. Now, obviously, 8th grade isn't a snowy military deployment, but the core expectation, it's absolute. You gotta have all your materials, notebook, writing instrument, the whole shebang, ready to go the second you walk through that door. You need to be actively taking notes and ready to answer questions. It's just as much about mental readiness as it is physical readiness. But hey, lest you think this classroom is all rigid marching orders, Mr. Hendrix balances that strict prep with a really comforting reality. He explicitly anchors his room in a growth mindset. His motto, mistakes are proof that you are trying. He actually wants you to answer questions feeling totally free to mess up, because that's exactly how you learn. It's a fantastic contrast. Be relentlessly prepared, but please don't be afraid to fail once you're engaged. That being said, there's a massive difference between an honest mistake and just straight up ignoring instructions. To put it bluntly, ever wish you'd read the instructions before the lion eats you? Yeah. The crucial point here is that you've got to follow all procedures. And importantly, you need to be able to repeat those instructions back to the teacher if asked. If you can't repeat it, well, you weren't listening, and you might just get proverbially eaten by the lion. Moving right along to Section 2, Navigating the Physical Classroom. In Mr. Hendrix's room, the teacher's desk is a strictly restricted zone. This is his domain. The rule is simple, and honestly, it's absolute. You do not touch or remove things from the teacher's desk without permission, and you definitely do not go behind it. It's really just a baseline boundary of physical respect. And this idea of physical boundaries applies to the rest of the room too. You're expected to stay in your assigned seat and raise your hand. What he really doesn't want is people just casually wandering around like they're strolling down a busy city street or through a train station. You've got to stay seated until you're given explicit permission to move. It's all about maintaining a focused, completely distraction-free learning environment. All right, let's talk about Section 3, Tech and Digital Citizenship. So here's where a totally traditional dress code rule actually ties directly into a modern tech problem. Mr. Hendrix requires that hoodies stay down. Why? Well, because hoodies are basically the perfect hiding spot for wireless earbuds, right? The rule explicitly states that if you're wearing a hoodie to hide your earbuds, you've got to put those earbuds away in your book bag right alongside your cell phone. It's a pretty clever way to ensure everyone's actually tuned into the lesson and not their playlists. Beyond personal phones, there are strict procedures for school-issued Chromebooks, too. I love this term he uses, screens at half-mast. Whenever the teacher, or even a classmate, is speaking, laptop lids need to be closed or screens face down. It just makes sure everyone can focus on listening without the glow of a screen distracting them. Furthermore, devices are strictly for science and social studies assignments. Gaming or messaging? That's a huge lack of responsibility here. You absolutely must stick to teacher-approved websites. Which brings us to Section 4, Integrity in the AI Era. Even in our super digital age, the classic testing rules still apply. While a quiz or test is in progress, the expectation is super simple. Keep your eyes on your own paper, absolutely no talking, 0 exceptions. If you don't follow these rules, it's considered cheating, and the penalty is steep. It can result in an automatic 0 for the assessment and further disciplinary action. But as we know, integrity today is way more than just wandering eyes. Mr. Hendrix explicitly contrasts doing your own authentic work with using unauthorized AI tools or copying a classmate's assignment. Remember that growth mindset we talked about earlier? Well, shortcuts completely defeat the purpose of learning from your mistakes. If a machine does the work or you copy a friend, you aren't trying and you aren't learning. Plus, when you're researching, you are expected to properly credit your sources rather than taking credit for work that simply isn't yours. Next up, Section 5, taking charge of your work. When it comes to absences, what if I told you makeup work is your responsibility? Seriously, I cannot emphasize this enough. Tracking down missing work falls entirely on the student's shoulders. You cannot wait around for the teacher to chase you down. So how exactly do you take charge? Well, Mr. Hendricks maps out some pretty advanced self-advocacy steps for this. Step 1. If you miss a class, check the digital portal first. Don't just walk in right as the bell rings and ask, hey, what did I miss? Step 2 is proactive communication. If you know you'll be absent, or if you're struggling and need help to avoid a late penalty, advocate for yourself by speaking with the teacher before the deadline. That is exactly the kind of self-management you're going to need for high school. And speaking of deadlines, if on time you turn your work, pass this class you will. It's a fun Yoda meme, sure, but it drives home a very real point. Work has to be turned in on time, or a late penalty may be assessed. Managing your time is literally a critical part of the 8th grade curriculum in this classroom. And guys, here is a crucial, strict detail that trips up so many students: labeling your work. Any work turned in without a name will automatically get a 5-point deduction before it's even graded. Or worse, the teacher might just throw it straight in the trash. It sounds harsh, but think about it. Taking ownership of your work literally starts with putting your name on it. Finally, we arrive at Section 6, collaboration and civil discourse. Science and social studies naturally require a ton of teamwork. Mr. Hendricks expects equitable group work, meaning you pull your own weight and don't let your classmates do all the heavy lifting. Next, during experiments, rigorous lab safety is absolutely non-negotiable to prevent accidents. And finally, in all interactions, whether in person or online, there is a strict zero-tolerance policy for cyberbullying or sending inappropriate messages. You've got to be kind, polite, and courteous. At the very core of civil discourse, especially when you're debating historical events or scientific theories, the golden rule is this: challenge the idea, not the person. You are expected to use actual evidence-based arguments to support your claims, and you must actively listen to the perspectives of others. You can disagree vigorously with a concept, but you must remain completely respectful toward your classmate. No exceptions. So there you have it. We've walked through the rules, the memes, and the seriously high expectations of Mr. Hendricks' 8th grade classroom. From keeping those hoodies down to using evidence in a debate, the overarching theme is super clear. These aren't just arbitrary restrictions designed to make your life harder. They are empowering tools, carefully designed to transform you into a responsible, capable digital citizen who is totally ready for high school and beyond. So, are you ready to level up your responsibility? Think about how you handle your own daily commitments and consider taking a page right out of Mr. Hendricks' syllabus.